Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, not to take a look at the most recent price action, but to actually take a look at the zoomed out picture. Sometimes you can get a little too carried away looking at the smaller price action, and sometimes it's just a little bit more important to zoom out and take a look at what is going on. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to be taking a look at that zoomed out picture and take a look at what we think, progression of this bear market looks like, where we think things could be going in the kind of medium to longer term points of view here for BTC. So as I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you have not yet joined us in Discord, you're missing a trick, guys. Link in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's the first place we go to notify you of the ins and the outs of everything that has been going on here in the crypto space. So let's get on into this. Right here we have Bitcoin paired up with US dollar on the 1 week chart, and Bitstamp, is our data source. Now this is one of those big macro views. There's a lot to digest here. It's been a while since we've looked at this particular chart, but basically what we have going on here is we're taking a look at the 2013 high, the 2017 high, the 2021 highs, the bear markets of 2015 all the way through to the 2018 bear market, and obviously the current bear market. We've got these big dashed lines coming down here. These are the halving events. I speak about those quite a bit. Essentially, the halving event does not seem to have the kind of the catalyst that people think it does, right? People think that the halving event is the trigger of a bull market. It simply is not the fact of the matter. It actually remains that the bull market starts at the bottom of the bear market over here, and the halving happened over here, for example. Here you can see that we started this climb way before the halving event. The halving event just happened to be there. These back in the day, I think, had more of an impact than they do these days. Essentially, making Bitcoin more difficult to acquire is one thing, sure, but it's more important to understand the circulating supply. So as less and less of Bitcoin comes into circulation, then that is important, but there's still a reasonable amount of circulating a BTC out there. Okay, so actually that's a more important metric to be focusing on, in my opinion. The next one is obviously all the way over here in April of 2024. So we can see that actually we should be kind of coming towards some kind of bear market end. But, things like recessions and new data that hasn't happened in Bitcoin's history before means that there's new things that are going on. This is something I've been talking about for months, specifically with new variables that have entered into the Bitcoin history chart here. Okay, so if we take a look at 2013 high, the 14 and 15 bear market, right, we actually stayed and bounced from a 1.236 Fibonacci level. Over here in the 2018 level, we basically stayed above the 2.36 Fibonacci level. Yet over this side, we've come down lower than the 1.382. This is a new variable that hasn't happened in the previous bear markets. Therefore, we cannot just blindly assume that we're going to be doing the same things over and over again. We are in new territory. We also, other things that have changed, well, with first time in Bitcoin's history, we've come down lower than the previous bull market's high. Okay, this is also a new variable that hasn't happened in Bitcoin's history as well. So we are doing new things, okay? So we should be aware that, things take time to kind of play out and all that kind of stuff, but we are in new world. Okay, we saw this time and time again with people saying that the bear market bottom was in June, and then we're now getting the same scenario. The bottom is now in, yada yada yada. Now, I do think that there are some projects out there that appear to have really good structures and probably are or have already kind of bottomed out, but I don't think that's the case for Bitcoin here, and I don't think that's the case for the majority of altcoins. I think there's just a handful of a few out there that have actually kind of bottomed out. That being said, Bitcoin here, I think, has further to go, unfortunately. Now, the good news is I don't think that we are trending down. I don't think we are in some kind of 5-wave, Elliott wave, 5-wave trend structure. We're below the 200 EMA, so traditional finance guys will be looking at that EMA saying, yes, we're in a downward trend, that's fine. But from an Elliott wave theory point of view, a trend is defined as 5 waves in an impulsive structure, and we haven't got that for Bitcoin. So that's positive news. That means that this is a corrective phase of the structure. Now, that could last quite a bit of time, though. Okay, that's because it's corrective doesn't mean it has to be short term. It can be longer term if it needs to. Essentially, as some of the things that we are following in the space, we are essentially waiting for the retail investors to sell their Bitcoin to the whale investors, okay? And so until the whales are buying, I think this market is going to continue to bleed, okay? And I don't think that's going to necessarily happen until there are a significant number of retail investors willing to sell. So max pain, I think, is kind of where that's heading. So let's try to break this down. There's a lot going on this chart, right? As you can see, the bear market to new all-time high back here in 2015 through to 2017. This was actually a time period of 721 days, right? Over here in 2018 lows all the way through to 2020, where we hit a new all-time high, again, 714 days. So there's going to be a significant period of time where we are climbing up, okay? And before you actually hit a new all-time high for BTC, okay? So when this does bottom out, will still be a significant period of time. Yes, you will be going up. It might not be really, really sharp, but it is going to be a bull market. And of course, you know, you'll see that it'll take some time before you hit a new all-time high. I don't think you're going to see this within 1 year, okay? In the last two, it has been a couple of year period, 2-year period to be able to get there. Can be quicker, of course. So we got very, very close to it back in 2019 before COVID really kind of pulled us right the way back down again. But these things, they take time, right? Profits have to be taken, investors need to lose money, and other investors need to make money. And it's a bit of a process, right? There's always a winner, there's always a loser, there's always a buyer, there's always a seller. And these are the fundamental basics that every retail investor needs to understand, right? These things, they take time. Just because you've now bought an altcoin does not mean that that altcoin automatically should be going to the moon. Very, very, very few people ever actually time the market perfectly well and buy the bottom. Chances are you buy an altcoin in this bear market, it is still going to go down lower. That is actually an okay thing. It's why dollar cost averaging exists, right? Dollar cost average into a project, build the position. Don't worry about the dollar value in the bear market so much. As long as you're, you know, at a decent level, lower than 90% from previous all-time highs, I think you're going to do okay. But of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice. All I can give you is my kind of thoughts and opinions on it. Now, you can try to time the market. You might be okay with that. You might not be okay with that. There's plenty of other strategies that you could also employ as well. So as we kind of come down a little bit lower here, because I am thinking the next pit stop's going to be in that $13,000 level, we have to see how the price reacts to it and kind of where that goes from here. But I do think we're getting close towards it. Remember, we are 3-6 months between actually having a bottom price and then kind of just sideways trading and slowly grinding our way up as we kind of come out of the recession. Obviously, demand will pick up towards the latter end of that bull market, as it usually does. Like 2021, for example, was only already a few months of really rapid growth. And the same with 2017, right? You saw it kind of grind out towards the end of the year and then it was done. So just kind of bear these things in mind that a lot of the market structures and things like that, the most part is if you're getting in at the bear market level, then you've kind of got a few years of kind of, you know, steady growth to it. But if you're getting in late, then there's going to be diminished gains for one, and obviously you're not going to have a huge window of opportunity there. It's going to need to be a few months into it, in my opinion. So on this particular view here, we can see, you know, we've had bear markets dropping down 86%, 84%. This one so far, I don't think has been that bad. Let me pull this in here at the moment. 70, I think it's a little bit more than that, 77%. Okay, so we're close. I still think we've got to come down just a fraction more, and, you know, 13,000 would put us at about 80%. So, you know, we talk about 85%, we're talking about just under $10,000. Okay, so lots of things to be thinking about there if we're going to be for consistency around those bear market lows. In terms of time, though, we have now progressed quite a bit. We are now in a 399-day bear market. Okay, so again, The previous one was 364 days. The one before that was 413 days. So we're definitely kind of getting into that nitty gritty. But again, the Bitcoin history, we can't rely on it too much. It's going to take whatever time it takes to actually play out. And Bitcoin's history here is, as I said earlier, being rewritten. So you kind of be cautious with these things. Just a fraction here. We can't be looking at the history and think it's going to repeat itself. As they say, history repeats itself until it doesn't. Course, which is a pointless saying, but there you go. So on this particular chart here, we can see lots of various different things. I still think we've got more room to the downside. So let's jump down into what that might look like. This time we're on Bitcoin paired up with USDT, trading pair, and Binance is the data source on this one. So here you can see we've got these key levels. We speak about these quite a bit. We have obviously the first one, which is the previous 2017 all-time high. That's the dashed line at the top here. Underneath that, we have this yellow box just here. This is between 11,600 and 13,900. This area is an area that I think was previous resistance. We pushed through it, but we haven't taken a look at this and said, let's turn this into a support level. So I think this is where we're going to bounce, at least initially. So we're looking at 13,900. So yes, another lower low for the bear market in Bitcoin's case, and then hopefully we'll turn this into a support. Now this will be a great place to kind of stop and start to see a significant surge upwards. I'm not expecting that until retail investors sell though. Underneath that we have highlighted the kind of the worst area, which would be basically $6,500 to $7,500. This one here is just an area of consolidation that was previously resistance, but we have tested this a couple of times. So if we were to come back down into these low ranges, this is definitely going to be a quick wick kind of scenario. So let me grab my pencil. Let's hypothetically say we do something like this. We bounce up, we get rejected from here, we come down, we get rejected here, and we come here. I think it will be very much a quick stop, like a V bottom. You're wicking in there and then you're straight out of it. I think the buying pressure from this low range would just be absolutely insane. But you'd hope that, and this is awful, but you'd hope that the retail investors who have been buying during, let's say, the June lows and July and August highs, eventually will actually sell on this move to the downside here, allowing whales to buy this one. If whales do not buy at this point here, then I'm not confident that we can't go down any lower than that, because I do think that until retail is selling their Bitcoin to the whales are just going to let this thing fall significantly. So just be really, really cautious. There's a buyer, there is a seller. At the moment, big money is exiting. Okay, they're using retail money as an exit. Okay, and until the retail investors are willing to sell that Bitcoin back to the whales, I do not think we can see or should expect any significant surge in Bitcoin's price. Okay, so I'll leave you with those thoughts, right? We have it time and time again. As I was saying, whales were selling down in June. They were selling up here. They were selling here. They're selling here. They're selling here. They're selling here. Okay, so the question becomes something rather simple. Okay, and that is, in June, I asked the question, do you think the whales know what they're doing, or do you think that they don't know what they're doing and they sold the bottom? A lot of people said this was the bottom, and therefore by default they were assuming that the whales didn't know what they were doing, and the whales sold the bottom, and the whales would have to buy higher prices, right? Instead, we've come down lower. Again, you're seeing the same scenario. The bottom is in. If we believe the bottom is in, then we believe the whales are selling the bottom, and that the whales do not know what they're doing. The question is for you to answer. It's not for me to answer. Do you think the whales don't know what they're doing? Do you think that the billionaires are going to have to buy higher prices because they've made a mistake by selling these lows? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm going to leave this video right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will not miss another video update. Don't forget to join us in Discord, linked in the description below. Guys, until the next one, have a fantastic day.